Come now, Hal. My men are mustered in the courtyard. We can get going.
Yeah.
God, what?
I'm in... A bit of...
I'm... I've got something. I know this is your favorite.
It is indeed. Thank you. Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to.
Listen, Teresa. There's something I ought to tell you.
What is it? What's troubling you?
I'm not quite sure how to tell you, so I'll just spit it out. So Radzig Kobyla is... my father.
And King Wenceslas is my cousin. You really had me going.
No, I'm serious.
What? But, Henry, how on earth could...
I know. It was a shock for me, too. It turns out Sir Radzig and my mother had some... romance. Of course, he couldn't marry a commoner.
And your father? I mean, the blacksmith. God, that sounds so odd. I mean, Martin.
He knew Sir Radzig from way back. Martin... Pa married her before I was born. To protect her reputation. And raise me as his own.
And Sir Radzig allowed it?
Sure. Actually, I get a feeling the whole thing was agreed between them. Sir Radzig was glad she wasn't left alone with a child.
My God, Henry, that's just... And what will that mean for you?
I honestly don't know.
You don't know?
Well, it all depends on Sir Radzig, doesn't it? As his illegitimate son, I don't have any rights as such. Well, it's not like I've suddenly become a noble like Capon. And even though Sir Radzig has publicly acknowledged me, well, sort of, it hasn't really changed anything.
And if Sir Radzig decided to make a real noble of you, would you want that?
I wouldn't. And it's never going to happen anyway.
Why not?
A bastard remains a bastard. Even if Sir Radzig never had another heir, all his property would go to the king by rights.
You might be right, but can't you imagine it? Would you still care for me, a common millmaid, if you were a nobleman?
Of course. I'll always be fond of you. Nothing will change that.
I'll remember that. I hope you won't regret those words.
No fear of that.
Here we are. Thanks for stopping by, Henry.
My pleasure.
What's the armor for? Are you afraid I'll jump you?
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
What, now? I can't, but stop by later.
Hey, lad! Don't you want a little wager on the rat-aid tourney?
I bet you even sleep in that armor, eh?
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to. Henry, do you think sometimes about how it was in Scarlet?
How do you mean?
Back then, before everything. When I was taking care of the hens at the mill, taking Sammy his lunch at the mines.
It seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
In the summer, I always took my shoes off and walked barefoot the whole way. And when it was really hot, I'd stop at the stream and stick my feet in the water for a while.
I had to make do with the tub in the yard when I was helping Pa in the forge. You know how hot it gets there in the summer? I always sneaked off if I could, even though I knew Pa would tan my hide when he came home.
I remember that. He was always looking for you all over the village, but you'd be hiding somewhere with Fritz and Matthew. Me and the other girls used to follow you secretly, but we never told your pa where you were. And when he gave up looking for you, the three of you would go off to the woods to beat each other with sticks.
Yeah, we were playing at being knights. Jesus, I used to get black and blue from it. I can still feel some of the blows that big ox Fritz landed on me.
No more playing at nights. Now you're practically a real one.
Indeed, as you say, young damsel, I am the very soul of knighthood.
Ah, the noble Sir Henry of Balderdash, the very picture of manhood. Pray, what is your coat of arms, Sir Knight? A beer tankard? A pair of crossed chicken legs?
Such wicked words, you shameless wench. Being a knight is not about symbols, but about deeds. But my coat of arms should be a bolt of lightning above a stable.
I thought a knight was supposed to prove his manhood a bit differently than you with your lightning in the stable. And besides, It is unfitting to talk of such matters, lest there be complaints at the court that Sir Knight is wasting his strength on dallying with village girls.
Forgive me, fair maid. Love for you has clouded my reason.
Henry, you really are a donkey. Home already. See you another time then. Don't you feel hot?
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to. Henry, let's play a game.
What game?
A guessing game. I have something with me today, and you have to guess what it is.
Nah, I don't think so. I'd just end up making a fool of myself.
Oh, come on. There's nothing to it. Just try it, Henry. Otherwise, you'll never find out what I've got.
Oh, all right, I'll give it a go, since you begged so nicely. You'll have to give me a clue, though.
Fair enough. Here's a clue for you. It's something you'd find in a tavern.
It's a sausage.
Always thinking about food, aren't you? No, Henry, it's not a sausage.
What a pity. Is it mead?
You're close, but that's not it.
Is it wine?
Ah, sir would like some wine, would he? From a golden goblet, or will silver do? No, it's not wine, but you're close.
Is it beer?
Finally! What else would you go to a tavern for?
So it is beer. Let's be having it then.
Wait, that's not all. Since you guessed right, as a reward, you can choose. Either I'll give you the beer, or I'll reveal one piece of family wisdom our grandfather used to tell us.
Tough choice. All right, I'll take the wisdom.
Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Really, really ready?
Don't leave me in suspense. Tell me.
Right. Listen carefully. This is the wisdom of our family, passed down from generation to generation. When someone offers you free beer, take it.
Well, that's it. All right, you got me. I admit it. Nice one.
At least next time you will be wiser. Anyway, that's all the wisdom I have for you today. It's time me and my beer headed for home. Will you accompany us?
Well, naturally I couldn't leave such a pretty pair to go alone.
The time passes so quickly with you, Henry. Come and see me again sometime. God be with you, Henry. Congratulations on your victory in the tournament.
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to. Henry, I don't want to complicate things, but how do you think it will be between the two of us? After all that's happened to us both, you're all I have left in my life. But you've got a lot of work for Sir Radzig and I'm afraid you'll have to leave me too.
Have no fear. I'll never leave you. Wherever my duties might take me, we'll still be together. After all, you're all that's left to me too. And even though everything might change...
Henry, will you promise me something?
Anything.
Promise me you'll take care of yourself, even if you were to go away for a long time and meet other girls. If I were to lose you too, I don't know what I'd do.
Ah, Teresa.
Just promise me.
I promise.
Thank you. I know it's a hard thing to promise, but... you know, well, we ought to be heading back. I still have work to do. Besides, you don't want to see me crying like a baby here.
Definitely not. You'd start me off too.
Right then, let's go. Home already. See you another time then.
Hey, lad! Don't you want a little wager on the ratte for me?
Isn't it heavy?
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to.
Home again. See you again sometime.
Yes. Come by again. I got them from Uncle Peshek. Just don't go poking them where you shouldn't.
They're lockpicks. They're not really intended for poking in your own locks.
True, but at least don't get caught. And if you do, you didn't get them from me.
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
I'd love to.
Home again. See you again sometime.
Yes. Come by again. Isn't it heavy? The armor, I mean?
I'd like to know... That's all.
Yeah.
Stay away from people if you can't ride a horse, you moron!
Sir Capon didn't want to wait for you any longer, sir, so he left to go hunting. He said they'd wait for you in the camp by the road, near Neuhof.
Yeah.
How about it, Henry? Can we go? Are you ready for this?
I wanted to ask you a few things. What do you think about Sir Jobst and his plan?
Well, I admit all the scheming has me a little lost. I thought Sigismund was the devil, Wenceslas a martyr, those on his side the heroes, and those against him the villains. I believed we'd rescue the king and all would be well again, but now it looks a lot more complicated.
Exactly. I didn't expect the noble lords to be as noble as the angels, but I hadn't expected such a sewer. They behave like children.
I can't fathom how after all this backstabbing they're somehow still on speaking terms.
I don't know either. It beggars belief. Did you know that King Wenceslas is such a...
Feckless drunkard? Not really. And to be honest, I'm not sure I wanted to know. I slept better believing my fate was watched over by a wise and powerful monarch.
So did I.
What a dismal world when you can't keep trust in your own king.
On the other hand, times were better with him here than with him gone.
Isn't that the truth?
What do you think of Sigismund?
If I were him, I'd have had enough of my brother even sooner.
But he's a monster. Look at what those hordes of his are getting up to here. What he did in Skalitz.
True enough. On the other hand, if Wenceslas and Prokop hadn't double-crossed him, none of this would have happened.
No one forced him to burn Skalitz.
That's a fact. But he couldn't let him shit all over him either. Not that I'm defending him, mind.
He's a weasel.
No doubt about that.
Do you know anything about Prokop?
Ha! Sir Hanush could tell you a thing or two about him.
Why?
Last winter, a certain Sir Jan Sokol of Lamberg, a well-known knight, or robber baron to some, tried to occupy the city of Iglau, which was on the orders of none other than Prokop.
And what has that got to do with Hanush?
Well, he was there with him. Of course, that's not something to brag about in front of Jobst.
And what was it all about?
They wanted to occupy a city that was on the side of the League of Lords, but despite there being several hundred strong, they didn't take it. For one thing, they couldn't get past the Iglau women, with their pitchforks and cauldrons of hot water.
I would never have thought of Sir Hanush as such a rebel. And have you heard anything about Rupert of the Palatinate?
A little. He can't manage even to wrest power from a king who doesn't much care for ruling and isn't fighting back. That doesn't seem like a man who has what it takes to rule. And that's all I need to know.
And that Berghoff we're going to see, do you know anything about him?
I haven't heard much good about him, but I have a feeling that some other nobles are quite in awe of him. And his castle is apparently quite impressive. I'll be interested to see for myself.
And what about the League of Lords?
Wealthy, pompous. The king doesn't seem to like them much. He's chosen to let the lesser ranks of the nobility into his circle, men like your father. I admit I don't blame him one bit, but the lords weren't happy about their lost influence, so they put their foot down. If I were Wenceslas, I'd have let them hang after they abducted me the first time, but he gave them seats at the provincial council. Little wonder they're back at their old tricks.
Of course. At last I'll get to see more of the country and have a bit of an outing.
Quite. Let's get to it then. I finally have the feeling we're doing something worthwhile. We're helping to save the king.
Instead of saving his drunken majesty.
I'd rather find that horseman who murdered my parents, get the sword back from him, and skewer him with it.
Cheer up, Henry. I've a feeling you'll get your chance one day, and it won't be long in coming. Forward, men! Audentes fortuna juvat!